28 years of coaching in the NFL, I've faced a lot of great coaches and a lot of guys who were tough on me, but I'd have to say the toughest coach that I ever faced was Joe Gibbs. It just seemed like Coach Gibbs had the ability to change his game plans up. He always gave you a lot of different formations on offense and motions and different plays, and he always had his teams ready to play. He gave me a lot of challenges, but he also was a great role model for me in that you could do all that and prepare well, but still do it in a Christian way, have a great environment around the workplace, and honor the Lord in how you did it. So Coach Gibbs was not only a challenge for me, but a tremendous role model and a tremendous leader. I get asked about leadership a lot, and what are the qualities you look for in a great leader. And to me, the number one quality, and it might be surprising, but I think the number one quality is humility. My professional coach, Chuck Noll, was the best example of a leader that I've ever been around. And that was because he really didn't want the credit. He really didn't want to be out front. He wanted the team to do as well as it could do. And being around him as a player and as an assistant coach, I just really admired that. Everything was done for the good of the team, and he was not afraid to take a back seat. Even though we all knew he was the leader, there was no question he was in charge, he didn't feel like he had to be the most important person. And I think that then transmitted down to everybody else. And our players, our team all felt that way, that winning was more important than being acknowledged as being in charge. And that allowed other leaders to grow. But being a leader and not being afraid to say I made a mistake or it was my fault, not always looking for the credit but looking to build up other people and being humble, I think that's what goes into long-term success. I'm really proud of these guys.
The whole season has just been excellent for us.
Tony Dungy, the Indianapolis Colts, he sold out on Super Sunday. Welcome to Sold Out TV, Faith, Family, and Football. I'm with the head coach of the world champion, I have to say it again, world champion Indianapolis Colts, and Tony Dungy. Tony, how are you, man?
Oh, it's great to be with you, and that sounds good. I like that.
It's just such a great feeling to get here, to win this game. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it feels great.
We've made a conscious effort to really bring in great guys, and it started with Tony Dungy and obviously Bill Polian. But
I've never met anyone quite like him. I mean, I can't think of a finer gentleman I've ever been around.
I think it's all about character.
You know, leads with his faith. He practices his faith. He preaches his faith.
I think players like to go play for coaches that they like and respect and enjoy playing for. And
that a team will take on the personality of its coach.
But the fear comes from the people who understand and respect those coaches so much that they fear letting them down.
like you said, you don't want to lose for him. He's just he's a great man, and you respect him so much. And
we do have a special relationship that will last for a lifetime, as far as I'm concerned.
He never wavered from his faith in Christ.
World champs on three. 1, 2, 3.
World champs!
Just the scene in our locker room, I know several reporters commented to me they expected to see a completely different scene, and we had our team prayer, and a lot of people got to see that and witness that and just see our team that you normally don't get to see. Normally that's closed off, and it was an open locker room at the time, but the guys didn't feel any difference at all. They said, you know, this is how we do it after every game. We're going to say our prayer, we're going to thank the Lord, and to let everybody see that, it was really awesome.
Was that something that you had calculated before the game in terms that you would do that with the reporters in the room?
No, we didn't think we're going to get to do it at all. As a matter of fact,
Really?
everyone told us you won't. They said it'll be so hectic, and after the game, everybody's there, and it's not like that 10-minute cooling off period we have for regular games. So we kind of assumed we wouldn't get to do it. And 4 or 5 of our players came to me and said, Coach, we've got to finish the year the way we always do. So we asked everybody to just give us about 4 minutes, and they did, and we just treated it like no one was there, and we did what we normally do.
To finish the way we started, the way we always finish. So if you guys will just excuse us with the cameras for 1 minute, we're going to gather up nice and tight here and just finish the way we always do as a unit.
And the picture in your book, when everybody's kneeling and you're leading them in prayer and the trophy's right in the middle, I can remember many reporters, including myself, getting down on my knees and holding the hand of one of your players.
Yes.
And I remember being a little bit embarrassed, holding one of your players and saying, I'm not an Indianapolis Colt, but I'm a Christian.
Yes, and that's what it was. It was just that moment we said, hey, we're taking a 3-minute break from whatever we all do. This is how we're coming together, and many people did join us. Many reporters and cameramen did take a knee, and it was a wonderful scene. It really was.
You can go on in this league, and there's such great guys. Yeah, they're great football players, but they're more than football players. They're men, they're husbands, they're fathers, they're sons, and they do a great job at those things.
So we are held to a higher standard, and we do have to be above reproach. And you can say it's not fair, but that's the reality of it.
I think he is a very dynamic man. It's great to see a person who lives out their faith the way that he does. If there's ever been like a mentor or somebody who you could look to and watch as he lives his life for Christ, and you could pattern yourself after that, he is a great one to follow.
Jim Mora laid a very, very solid foundation of discipline and hard work here. And that was the legacy that he left, which contributed greatly to what we've achieved. Tony came in and really built upon that and expanded it greatly.
We're just really tight, and we've made a conscious effort to really bring in great guys. And it started with Tony Dungy.
I mean, when you think of coaching, you think of yelling, you think of cussing, you think of cursing, you think of, you know, just belittling people. You know, it's just, you know, breaking players down and building them up, that type of mentality. And Coach Dungy is the total opposite, and to see him succeed with his methods and his teachings, and to not give in and not to be like, you know, maybe I need to change.
What did your players learn from you after they played for you? What are they going to walk away with?
Like I said, I wouldn't want to win this with another group of guys. The whole season has just been excellent for us. We've played together all year, and just everything we've been through.
Okay, what's this all about? No excuses, no explanations.
I actually got that from Denny Green. When I went to work for him in Minnesota, he said, this is what this is all about. You have to have expectations. You've got to be willing to sacrifice and get the job done. And there's no reason you can't do it. In life, anything you want to do, on the football field, we can't allow ourselves to say, well, we could have if, or we would have but. And that's what it's all about on the football field. And more than that, then it becomes a life lesson for your players.
Coach Dungy preaches that week in and week out, like, hey, it's a team of 61 guys, and hey, you know, when your numbers call, you just got to step up and make the plays. No excuses, no explanation, just execution. And you know, that's one thing I wanted to do once I stepped out on the field is execute. And I think I did my job tonight.
Same thing in our marriage, in our Christian walk, in our life after football, business, whatever it is. Put your mind to it and get the job done, and don't accept second best. I've certainly had a lot of fun moments in my life, a lot of thrills, winning a Super Bowl as a player, winning a Super Bowl as a coach, being involved in some big wins from that standpoint. But probably the most satisfying things to me come in a little bit more private moments. And things that really give me joy are watching young people, especially my children, succeed. As a coach, that was always my #1 goal. You want to see your players improve, develop, be the best players and people that they could be. Same thing with my kids and with other young people that I come across. Now, more than anything, my wife Lauren and I are going out, we're reading at elementary schools, we're encouraging young people to develop their minds, to further their education, to grow as people. And when you see young people develop and really blossom, that probably is the most satisfying thing to me. One of the reasons that I really have enjoyed my coaching career, it's not so much to generate the wins, but it's to help young players get better and to really show coaches that there are many, many ways you can do it, and you can be successful and still take good care of your players, still try to build them and make that the most important thing, not make winning the most important thing. In the National Football League, you don't go undefeated. You don't win every game. You don't complete every pass. In the Christian life, you don't go undefeated. And that's sometimes we think that's not the case, but it's true. It's not going to be just a bed of roses. It's not going to be all downhill, smooth sailing.
There's been a core group of guys that have been here throughout the entire time, through some of the highs, through some of those lows, and we've stuck together, and that's made a real difference, and that's a real reason, I think, why we're here today.
I tell fathers the #1 thing is your families need you, and we can't fall into the world's perception that the moms, kind of nurture the family and the dads make the money and supply the income. I think that's a misconception that we've bought into. The dads are just as much of the nurturing process. They're just as needed as the moms.
Obviously now Coach Dungy, who is probably more prevalent than all of them, as far as, well, I'd say Coach Vermeil too, but as far as family's concerned, the bigger picture of what's really important, and that's your faith and that's your family, and those come before football.
I'm with Jeffrey and Jeff.
Yeah.
All right, the two guys, number 63. Proud of your dad tonight?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. That's a positive, right? What's it like, Jeff, to have the opportunity to share this experience with your son?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, he loves to be able to come in the locker room after the game and see how guys, act after the game. He prays with us, and so it's a lot of fun just to allow him to have this experience. A lot of kids don't get the experience, and he gets to see how his dad acts around other people, and that's the best way I know how to train him, is just to let him watch.
Everybody wants to tell your kids the right things, but then you say, you know what, am I really demonstrating that too? That's how I've got to get it across. That's how my dad and mom got it across to me. They said a lot of things, but I got to watch them too, and that's when I think it really clicked into me. You have to try to figure out what God wants you to do, and He gives all of us a vocation. He gives us all something that we desire to do, something we're good at, and He wants you to do well at that, but He doesn't want that to be your whole life. He doesn't want you to get wrapped up in what you do. He wants you to be wrapped up in why you're doing something, and that why should be doing it for Him, for glorifying the Lord, for honoring Him. It's pretty easy to go along in life when everything is going as planned and everything kind of falls in place. But unfortunately, that's not life. Normally there are setbacks, there are ups and downs, and the big thing about succeeding is how you handle those down periods. And when you do have a setback, how do you keep going? And for me, I get that motivation from the Bible. I do see in there many stories of men who had to overcome great obstacles, who ended up doing tremendous things where it maybe didn't look that way at some point in time. And I always look at life like a movie.
that you can stop it and take a snapshot anywhere in the course of that movie, and boy, things don't look good. But you have to watch the whole thing. You have to get to the end to see how it's going to turn out. And that's how I get my motivation, of thinking about the finished product, the final destination, not a stopping point, not a setback right now, but where is this going? And that, for me, is what I try to do. Let's look ahead, see how we can make the situation better, and think about where I want to end up, not where I am now.